And looking back, it was like I was such a martyr. Like I didn't even use a baby carrier. Like my back was aching. I was holding this baby. I was so exhausted. I just felt like
Hey, friend, welcome to the Ready to Rise podcast with your host, me, Audrey Rose. This is the podcast all about taking your life to the next level. Join me on my journey as I create a life that I'm obsessed to wake up for every day. I hope that you are ready to create a life that you really, really love. Are you ready to rise? You guys already know how much I love having authors on the podcast. I just can't get enough. Something about their brains or something about the stories. What is it? Someone help me. I also just love reading books. So I think it's really fun for me to bring authors on and get to share their story and share their book. And of course, you already know I love giving away signed copies of books because something about that is so magical to me. I have a full shelf now in my closet of signed first edition, copies, and it just is so amazing. And I just love reading. So, without further ado, we are going to hear from Haley McMillan, who wrote a super fun story. It is fictional, but it also has so much to do with us growing into ourselves and becoming our truest self and learning and self-discovery and all these really cool things. So, it's definitely a really fun story. If you haven't already heard of it, you are going to get a glimpse all about her book today, and I just can't wait for you to hear more about it. We're going to be doing a giveaway. I have one signed copy, so we're going to do a very special giveaway on the podcast, and of course, Instagram at Hello Audrey Rose is where you're going to learn even more about that. But let's dive into this episode. Also, for those of you listening who are nosy like me, her Instagram is Haley McMillan creative studio. And the book is called The Hearts We Keep. So if you want to grab it on Amazon right now because you just cannot wait till the end of this episode to start reading it, then go right ahead. More power to you. And like I said, episode is going to be freaking amazing. I can't wait for you guys to hear all about Haley and creation of this book, how she does it, all the things. Let's dive in. So I really want to start, Haley, with obviously we're going to dive into your book, which is freaking amazing. It's literally a page turner. Oh my gosh, I haven't finished the whole thing, but I cannot wait to finish this. It's really good. But I would love to start with just would you introduce yourself? Would you tell us, about you and what got you into becoming an author?
of course. I'm so happy to be here, by the way. I've been following you. I
Thank
love everything you
you.
do. I love what you're about. So it's an honor to be here. Um, but yeah, I'm Haley McMillan. I'm an author and an artist. I live in Texas with my husband and two young daughters. So I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that,
Oh
take
my
up
gosh.
most of my time. But when I'm not momming, I'm writing or painting or designing for clients or just for myself for fun. I was born and raised in Minnesota, so I'm kind of a Midwestern girl, but I've lived in the South now for quite a while, so I don't really know where I belong anymore, but we've been all over the place. Yeah, what got me into being an author? I've always been a creative. I've always been drawn to art, to music, to dance, and to writing. And it was something I've always kind of done in my free time. I also did some writing professionally, but it was more on the business side of things.
Okay.
So just doing consulting and writing for other people. So kind of a different, it's still creative, but
Mhm.
kind of a different beast. And then, I kind of went through over the last few years, I kind of went through this personal transformation of just kind of enjoying the process, letting go expectations, just diving into creativity for the fun of it. And in doing that, I ended up starting this book and I just wrote it really quickly. Like it just kind of fell out of me. And then since then, I've written a couple more books. Another one's coming out in December. And, I've illustrated some children's books and taken on some really cool illustration projects recently. So, it just kind of took
Oh, the
off after
full
I,
package.
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that is so
yeah.
cool.
It's been
Wow.
great.
Did you do your own book cover?
Yes.
Oh
So I
my,
did my own book cover. I've also done book covers for other authors, and my future books.
that's great.
So that was important to me to do because it just kind of feels like a complete, creative package. Like it just felt right to do my own. And I enjoy it so much. Like designing book covers is this new little treasure that I didn't realize I needed in my life. And now I like can't stop.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's awesome because it is gorgeous, by the way, like
Yeah.
as you already know, I'm sure. Oh, I love that so much. I love how the story like shows such a personal transformation. Like speaking of your transformation, such a big, huge personal transformation that I think like
Yeah.
readers I always I always love to get stories where it can be fiction or nonfiction, but I love it when they take you on this journey and you get to see
Yeah.
like, how somebody develops over time. And it's always inspiring to me to be able to, go along the ride like with that character, right? And so I'm sure you've
Yeah.
gotten tons of feedback about how excited like it's exciting to read that kind of a thing where you're just watching them change and it can parallel our lives in many different ways.
Right. I think, I have gotten a lot of feedback in that regard because I think, especially women who read this book, every woman has been 17 at some point.
Yeah.
And every woman has gone through this kind of transformation at some point in their life, like from
Yeah.
innocence to the other side of innocence, when the real world hits you in various ways. Like for some people, it happens younger, for some people, older, but I think we all kind of get hit with reality at some point, and it, helps develop us into the people we are. I mean, I even had a woman who was in her 70s who read this book and she was like, I couldn't believe how much I identified with these characters. And I am, they're teenagers and I'm in
Yeah.
my 70s, but she's like, it reminds me so much of things that I went through. And I think that's really important that we are able to see like some of our challenging experiences in literature and feel seen by them and be able to, it helps us reflect on our own lives too.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Like, it helps you reflect on your own life. And sometimes I think we don't process everything that we go through, especially at that young age, because it's like boom, 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 on to the next thing. Like, what are we doing for college? What are we doing for this? Like, what's next for us? And so many of us, I didn't have this experience, but I know that so many of us have to grow up very quickly in the quote real world, right? And so a lot of people I think do have to
Mm-hmm.
skip that part of their life and they can't process it while it's happening. So going back and reading a book where the characters in that age group that you didn't get to like fully process, you're able to take
Mm-hmm.
your mind back there. You're able to go kind of through like the parts that you remember again.
My main character, kind of in the future a little bit, and she's still processing and still working through some things. And I feel like, it's important for us to see too. It's not like wham bam, all of a sudden I'm healed. Like
Hmm.
you might still be feeling things like far into the future, and grief still hurts. And she kind of ex- is continuing to experience those things in a very kind of real way. And but also, she heals a little bit too. So
Yeah.
that's what we
Yeah.
all hope for, I suppose.
Yeah, this whole transformation.
Mm.
And I don't want to downplay it and make it sound like, oh, this book will just like help you, transform or process, your younger years. Like this is a juicy, dramatic book. I mean, this has all the things, right? Like the storyline is amazing. I know for a fact that like this storyline will just
Oh,
keep going. Like, you are not going to put this book down. So yeah, like, I mean, not to
yeah,
downplay.
that's like the number one feedback I get for people. It's very exciting to put your work out there, but it's super
Yeah.
terrifying. And like this was my debut novel. So I was like, it's kind of make or break, it's like
Oh,
people are going to read this and like, what if nobody loves it? What if this is stupid and everything's stupid and I'm stupid? Like you just kind of have all these like thoughts going through your head, but then, the people started responding so positively and I could not believe like the almost everyone that I know that read my books their number one feedback was I couldn't put it down. And
Yeah.
that to me is like the ultimate, like as an author, like that feels really, really good. So, but yeah, I think like as authors, like as an author, I don't owe my readers don't owe me anything, I should say. They don't owe me finishing my book. Like I owe it to them. Like if they're going to buy a story to, produce a story that they want to read and that they see value in. And so like, it's been amazing to receive the feedback that I've received.
Yeah. I mean, amazing, right? Like seriously. I want to chat with you a
Yeah.
little bit because you have two young daughters, and I would love to chat with
Mhm.
you about how you're balancing everything. Like, I know, I don't know because I'm not yet an author, but I can just imagine that there's times when you get into that creative flow and you just need to be like locked up in your room to just write it out. But then you have kids screaming in the background, right? So like as a mom, how do you balance?
Yeah, so very delicately with great care and precision. No, I think the number one thing for me is I always have to give credit to my husband because, you know, I don't take for granted that I have a really supportive partner.
That's
And
awesome.
like, and that really does make a huge difference. Like, there's a lot of single parents out here that it'd be easy for me to like just find balance, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's only so many hours in the day and kids require you pretty much 100% of the time. Like it's just, um, so for me, I'm really lucky. My husband, he works from home now. He didn't always, and he travels a lot for work, but when he is home, like if he doesn't have a meeting or he has a break or something, like he will be like, okay, go work and I'll take care of the kids, and he gives me that space, whether or not the work that I do like benefits us financially or like in any other way other than like I just love doing it.
Yeah.
So, that's a major factor. But also like a lot of it's been up to me, like asking for what I need, like
Mm.
making space for myself to do the work that I want to do, like being vocal about like this is important to me. I want to do it. Like I need to finish this. I need this time. During nap time, I carve out space. Like during times when maybe like I would be Netflixing and chilling, like I'm writing because it brings me joy, because it relaxes me, because that's what I want to be doing. And, I think when you're enjoying the process of what you're doing, like you do find the time to do those things. Just, like someone who goes for a run or goes, like, carving out that space is important in whatever way that, is for you. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you can get done in like a couple focused hours a day. Really.
I like that. I like that point that you just made about it being focused and not, like because you have to use your time so wisely because it's limited. So you really
Yeah.
have to get in and think about it. Like, what exactly do I think I'm going to be doing during this time? Or is it just free time where, whatever, I'm just going to rest and relax. But
And I
really,
rest and relax plenty. So like don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm just like a machine. Like I like prioritize relaxation. I do nothing after 9 p.m. Like when people are like, let's go out for dinner at 8, I'm like, no. I'm
I
like
love
a
the
total
look on your face right now. You are so about this. I love this. This is perfect.
yeah, I'm just like, no, 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 no. I love peace, easy breezy, the pressure I put on myself is more like, you know, I like if I have deadlines or something, it's like I don't procrastinate. So I want to have something done immediately. And
Mhm.
it's difficult for me when I don't have the time, when I have to like stop and be like, no, I need to be with my kids right now.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. But then I have to have it just sitting in my brain, that is very difficult for me. Like it causes me stress to not be able to do something immediately. But
Mhm.
that's something that I've had to work on, and just be like, I have to be able to compartmentalize sometimes and be like, you know what, my time for this, I'm going to have 7 to 8 p.m. and that's when I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not right now, so I need to let it go. Um, but that is hard. Like it would be nice to have the freedom and flexibility to work on something
Yeah.
when I want to.
Yeah.
But seasons change. Like I had newborns, I had toddlers. Now my kids are both going to be in school this year for part of the time. So I'm actually going to have time during the day to like do things I want to do. So, it's everything is temporary too. So it's constantly like
Mhm.
we're constantly readjusting our schedules, right?
Exactly. It's constant like flexibility with everything and
Yeah.
learning like when's that time going to be? When am I going to yeah, how's that going to change? I want to chat with you because you lit up so much about that, like space and like the peace and just taking care of
Mhm.
yourself and putting that first. Was that always the case, or is there like a journey there? 'Cause
Um,
you got
okay.
passionate, girl.
Yes, yes. So to some degree, that's always been the case. Like I think some people are just like night owls and party girls, and they just love, like they just live for the, the energy.
Mhm.
I think I've always been a little bit more like low key. Like in college, I feel like I was more like the mama bear. Like I was like taking the 8 a.m. classes, and I was like, I need y'all to be quiet. So I could like I was just, you know, so I think to some degree that's always just been the way that I function.
A fun little announcement for you guys. I've been keeping a secret. I've been building a community behind the scenes called the Rise Sisterhood. And this is where you can go in off of social media. You just literally plug into a community. It's not related to social media. It has so many things to offer you, including just a high vibe area where you can meet other people who are in the same boat as you, who want to connect with you, who want to change their lives, who are empowering each other to make all the differences in their lives. And we have monthly coffee chats, mocktail chats, expert experiences where people come in and teach you their specific healing modality that they are very good at, to encourage you to, learn that at home and do it for yourself. And you, of course, get access to a vault where we hold all of the videos as they've happened in the past for you to rewatch over again. And you can do these healing techniques on yourself anytime, anywhere, from your phone, your laptop, whatever is how you can access that community. So to get in and get your steps and just hear more about it, text Sisterhood to 707-347-0723.
I was reflecting before I talked to you because I know what you're all about. And I know
Yeah.
that you're trying to like help people, I would say women, but people, just humans, like, um, fight burnout.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking about when I first had kids, and even before that, like I used to always work like three jobs. Like I was always like, I would like have a job and then I would also bartend at night and I would be there till 2 in the morning. And then I would get up and open the coffee shop the next morning. And I was just
Oh
like
my
kind of
gosh.
like, and, I was always pretty independent financially and stuff. And I, valued that. And I'm also from the Midwest. And I feel like there's this Midwestern work ethic thing that's like a whole, cultural thing that the harder you work, the better you are as a person. I don't know. And then when I first had kids, like my husband's from Scotland and I'm from Minnesota and we were living in Louisiana. So both of our families were really far away. And I, was home with a newborn 24/7. My husband wasn't home like, or, all
Mhm.
day. I didn't have people helping me, supporting me because they were far away and it wasn't realistic. I kind of isolated myself from friends and stuff because I had some postpartum stuff going on.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was like I was such a martyr. Like I didn't even use a baby carrier. Like my back was aching. I was holding this baby. I was so
Oh,
exhausted. I just felt like I was doing the right thing
yeah.
by making it really hard on myself. I don't know. Like I just
Yeah.
felt like I was like being a good mom. And even now, like I can count on one hand the number of times my kids have had a babysitter. Like I feel like I'm always just kind of like doing everything for them. And I think just I would even like I'm ashamed to say, like I would look at other moms that had like a ton of support and I would either be really jealous of them because I'd be like, oh, or I would be like, well,
Hmm.
like I'm harder than them, like
Yeah.
whatever, I'm doing everything. And it's like, I think that's a mentality that a lot of moms have. Like, I think there's a lot of moms that are quietly at home, just like suffering through it and not asking for help.
Mhm.
And like, I was always the first person to like help someone else or be there or say yes to an extra project or yes to work. I had a really hard time saying no, but I also like, I find it really difficult to ask other people for help. Like, I just feel like I need to be able to do everything myself. So, yes, it has been a journey.
Right.
Reflecting on my life, I'm like, yeah, like it's still hard for me. Like, I'll be like, I'll take my friends' kids over to my house, but it's hard for me to ask them to watch my kids. Like,
Amazing amount of self-awareness and self-reflection too, by the way. Like that takes a lot of work to be able to go and like look at it and see it that way. But honestly, I think that so many people do that. And like I don't know if you've heard like my favorite example is like about the PTA brownies, where I'm just like some, I think some moms want to stay up till 4 a.m. to bake the brownies from scratch. And some just want to go to the grocery store and buy them done. But like either way, I think that society just puts so much pressure on people to be perfect and have it all together. And if you didn't
mm,
make them from scratch, like shame on you. And really, it should just be like, what makes you happy? Like if baking truly makes you happy, cool, stay up all night. Me, no. And so like just yeah, going through that and not being afraid, because I think that that pressure makes us so scared to ask for help that it causes us to burn out so quickly.
yes, I totally am with you. And like, I feel like, there's a lot of things that I'm saying no to now that I wouldn't have before, where I would have maybe even felt honored to be asked to do something. And even if I didn't really want to do it, I would have been like, oh yeah, this is good. And when you're younger too, you're kind of fighting that uphill battle of like, I need a resume builder. I need and you're not really honoring where you are. You're just kind of like trying to become credible and relevant. So like you're kind of taking on anything, even if it doesn't pay and like that kind of thing, and I was definitely there before. And
Yeah.
now I'm just, I'm at a place where I'm so much more selective with my projects. Like I don't take on projects, like even if they pay a lot of money, like I won't take it on if I'm not excited about it, if I don't believe in it, if it's not going to bring me joy. It's hard to find that balance. But there is something to be said for just like getting older and wiser too, and kind of recognizing you learn about yourself and you recognize where your boundaries are. And when you recognize those boundaries, like it's important to take the next step and start honoring them. And I feel like in doing that, I have been so much more fruitful. Like my creativity has blossomed. I have produced so much more than I ever did before
Mhm.
because I have healthy boundaries.
I want to highlight that real fast. Like that's probably the highlight of this show is, well, obviously besides your book. So, but I want to highlight that real fast because like people think that like they have to have everything together and like that's what's going to make them slow down is if they take that rest time or if they take a minute. When you set those boundaries and you know, car carve out that time and you actually start going for it, I guess like it can make you so much more productive because like that this is what I'm doing. I have this self-care going. I'm taking care of myself. And then that way, I mean, life gets to be so much better because you're not rushing to every single thing. Yeah. You have time for things.
Exactly. Like, intentional. And like something that I always advise creatives in particular, like anyone who's trying to accomplish something creative, is giving your space to just daydream,
Yeah.
like intentionally day about whatever. And like if you just sit there and kind of let your mind wander, like you'll be surprised at how many ideas just like pop in there and how many things you start envisioning and like things that like you get excited about and then you want to, step aside and do. And then when you make that space to actually act on those things, like you'll just be surprised at how much you're capable of.
Oh, I love that so much. You have all the juicy nuggets. These are so good. Where can everybody find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Haley McMillan Creative Studio. I also have a website, HaleyMcMillan.com, so you can go there. The Hearts We Keep is on Amazon right now, and Margot James is Fine is my next book, and that's coming out, I think, in December. We're working through the editing process right now. So December will probably be the earliest, but I'm excited about that. It's a completely different story.
Love it.
Um, So yeah,
Oh, that's
I'm
so exciting. And will you leave us with one like tangible self-care or self-love tip?
ooh. I mentioned it previously, but I'll just reiterate, ask for what you need. Like ask for what you need from the people in your life. Even, if it's a babysitter, if it's something like ask for help, ask for what you need and give yourself the space to amaze yourself.
My God, that's the quote right there. The space to amaze you. Thank you so much. Truly, like it's been such a pleasure to have you on, and thank you.
Thank you. It's been great.
Yeah. I'm so happy you got to make it to another amazing episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. Don't hesitate to share this with a friend that needs to hear it. Send it straight to their DMs. Take a screenshot, throw it up in your stories, tag me in it at Hello Audrey Rose. And don't forget, if you leave a written review on the iTunes app, that also helps people find it. So if it resonates with you, help others find it. And I can't wait to hear how much you loved this awesome episode. Have a blessed day.